The worst of Helene is yet to come, triggering a WRAL weather alert day. Before you go to bed, the new timing of when tornadoes and flooding arrive where you live.
Imminent catastrophic flooding for western North Carolina. We're there live with how rain bands from Helene are already creating dangerous problems.
From dangerous flooding to damaged property. I'm in the WRAL storm tracker highlighting impacts of tonight's storm around central North Carolina.
We're tracking the storm every step of the way, right now at 10.
Tonight, we are already seeing the effects of Hurricane Helene as the monster Category 4 storm nears landfall in Florida. It's now packing winds of 140 miles per hour. Heavy rain and thunderstorms hitting the triangle tonight. Today, we had several tornado warnings in our area when rotation was detected inside the storm cells, and flash flooding struck quickly as those rain bands moved in. Off to the west, the situation is far worse. Flooding is already a major problem and has the potential to become catastrophic, with the worst of the storm still hundreds of miles away. This here is drone video taken in the Asheville area. From the mountains to right here at home, WRAL has the largest team of reporters and meteorologists covering Hurricane Helene. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Gerald Owens in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with meteorologist Mike Mays. We want to take a live look at Cedar Key right now, Florida, Mike, along the Gulf Coast. It is taking beating right now. You said wind gust of 73 miles an hour. You can see the rain right there. And look at the damage already, and the storm is not even on shore yet. You predicted the rapid intensification of the storm. It's now a powerful 4. The storm surge is being called unsurvivable along the Gulf Coast. Let's talk about our effects here. What are we going to see overnight initially?
We're basically going to see rain overnight, and it's toward daybreak that we have the potential for tornadoes. We have a tornado watch in effect for our southern counties. If you're watching from Hope County, Cumberland County, Sampson County, and point southward, you're in that watch, and that expires at 8 a.m. And what that tells us when it expires at 8 a.m., it's most likely tornadoes will not reach our area until the very early morning hours closer to daybreak. The closest tornado warnings are to south toward Charleston. We will watch as we go through the night. There's the latest update on Helene. Top winds are at 140, moving north-northeast to 24. And here's the forecast track. We'll have a new track with intensities coming up at 11 on WRAL. But in the afternoon on Friday, tomorrow, that's where the storm will be located, with top winds about 45. But there will be hurricane force winds close to the Atlanta area where hurricane warnings are in effect. Now, here's where the storm is. This is the radar view out of Tallahassee. Flash flood warnings ongoing. Perry, Florida, looks like it's going to be taking aim. This is where the center is. It is moving north-northeast. Now, this whole area here is wildlife management area, so this is not populated. Perry is, and points northward on I-10 are, but this whole area where it makes landfall will just see a lot of rain, and probably a lot of trees will be coming down. But you can see how big the storm is. 52-mile-per-hour wind gusts just to the north of the center there, and some big wind gusts. Tampa St. Pete, one location had a wind gust into the 80-mile-per-hour range. So this red line is where the track of the storm is expected to go, and hurricane warnings over Griffin, Georgia, which is just on the south side of Atlanta. So the Atlanta metro area could be looking at winds gusting to at least 70 miles per hour. This is unprecedented, seeing hurricane warnings go this far north in Georgia. I've never seen this in Georgia. We had that over toward Charleston when Hugo made landfall over in 1989 and had hurricane force winds as far inland as the Charlotte area. But this is pretty much a first for the Georgia area, and it'll be amazing to see what kind of damage comes out of that. Now, closer to home, we have rain. Not from Helene, or at least not directly. This is moisture interacting with a frontal boundary that's created so much rainfall. Look at the numbers we've had already. Lake Toxaway over the past 48 hours, over 13 inches. Blowing Rock, almost 12 inches. Cataloochee, over 10 inches. Asheville, 8.28. Highland, 7.79. Banner Elk, 7.41. And the bulk of the rain from Helene hasn't even gotten here yet. Now, for us, we had showers and some thunderstorms and a tornado warning. Basically, we'll just generally have some light rain. There's where the greatest threat for tornadoes will be overnight. For us, we have a level 2 and 3 threat. We will likely be in a tornado watch in the morning. We already have that for Fayetteville until 8 a.m. That's likely going to be pushed northward. We also have a wind advisory in effect through 6 o'clock Friday for much of the area, with winds gusting up to 45 miles per hour, and a flood watch as well. There's just so much information to sift through. Now, coming up in less than 15 minutes, I'll show you on Futurecast when we have the greatest tornado threats, when we'll have the greatest flooding threat and wind threat. That's coming up shortly.
All right, we'll see you then, Mike. Thank you. And we have some school closings because of this storm. Wake County, the largest school system in North Carolina, will be closed tomorrow. Other systems are doing the same thing, considering the possibility of flooding and tornadoes. We have those closings for you scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We will also keep the full updated list on WRAL.com.
As Hurricane Helene continues to make its way across the country, western North Carolina is getting battered with intense rain and flooding. Just look at some of this drone footage from yesterday. Isn't that something? WRAL's Willie Danley has been on the road all day, joining us now live in Asheville. Willie, I can see the rain piling up behind you. What have you seen so far?
Well, Ashley, we've traveled well over 200 miles through western North Carolina today, and I've seen people in multiple counties preparing for the storm and cleaning up the damage that it's already left behind.
It's crazy. The river just completely turns into the sidewalk and into the street. I can't imagine how deep it's going. I've never seen it like this before.
Hurricane Helene is hitting the western part of the state hard, impacting residents and businesses. The National Weather Service predicting catastrophic flooding and landslides for the mountains and the foothills. Torrin Kexel is the owner of the Flying Bike Tour Company on River Arts Place here in Asheville. He has painstakingly removed everything from his storefront as Asheville prepares for flooding, possibly like they haven't seen in more than 100 years.
From what we're hearing, the flood is coming up to 1916 levels, which is above our basement windows there, basically. So our entire space might be submerged by tomorrow.
Businesses around the area are closing up shop due to the storm and because of its close proximity to the mountains and chances of falling rocks, trees, washed out roads, bridges, and homes. It's a move that also hurts business owners' pockets. Kexel says it's had a big financial impact.
Yeah, I mean, we've had to give thousands of dollars of refunds this weekend, and we had to move all this stuff. So it's renting trucks and getting people here and all of that. So it's a pretty heavy impact, and that's just what happens now. If this place floods, then we might be out of a home for, the foreseeable future.
In McDowell County, a restaurant owner had floodwaters rush into his business. He told me it seemed like the Catawba River was ripping through the building. And this video shows the Hilltop Farm apple orchard in Henderson County completely submerged. As you can see behind me, this road, which is right next to the French Broad River, is completely flooded into the street. And this is just one of several roads here in Asheville that are closed due to flooding. People that I spoke to today tell me that they're going to be hunkering down and preparing for the worst of Hurricane Helene that's coming tomorrow. In Asheville, Willie Danley, WRAL News.
All right, Willie, this is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center. Lots of new video coming in just in the past hour or so as we watch the eye wall of Helene about to move onshore there in the Big Bend area of Florida. I want to take you, first of all, to the Tampa area. You can see it's a long way away from the center of Helene, but already we have learned in the past little while, well, this is video of Bradenton, Florida, also not too far from the Tampa area. You can see from the Bradenton Police Department they are dealing with trees down. There was a sailboat there in the road and also that water flowing across the road. A tricky situation there tonight. Now, I want to take you to Tampa, where earlier this evening, winds blew a highway sign on a car on Interstate 4. You can see that right there, and we have learned in the past 30 minutes that the driver was killed in that incident. Police throughout Florida on the Gulf Coast are urging people to stay off the roads tonight. I want to show you an unusual picture. Some of the buoys that are out there in the Gulf of Mexico that report wind, weather data, wave data as well, also have cameras that send back images. This is from one of those buoys near the center of Helene, taken about 6 or 7 o'clock Central Time this evening, and take a look at the measurements from that buoy. A 107-mile-per-hour wind gust and 25-foot wave heights. And just to top all of this off, take a look at this warning from the Taylor County Sheriff's Office. This is in the Big Bend area of Florida. They posted on Facebook earlier today that if you or someone you know chose not to evacuate, please write your name, birthday, and important information on your body in a permanent marker so that authorities could identify your body.
Doesn't get more sobering than that.
Yep.
WRAL's Aaron Thomas and photojournalist Chris Shipman have been driving for hours this evening, tracking severe weather in our area.
We've had flash flooding and some trees come down already. Aaron Thomas is outside the WRAL storm tracker in the North Hills area. Aaron, you've had a chance to look at some of the impacts of the storm around the area. What have you seen?
Yeah, that's right, Gerald. That's exactly why we had to step out of the storm tracker for that reason. It's worth pointing out that there were tornado warnings in Wake, Granville, and Durham counties. And while those warnings were in effect, you had this large tree that snapped and managed to land on Tom McDonald's truck. You can see where it smashed part of the cabin. There's shards of glass everywhere. He says that all of this happened in a matter of seconds. Swift storms in the Triangle, powerful enough to crush vehicles and emotions.
I'm always nervous when big storms or hurricanes come around.
Tom McDonald was inside his Raleigh home when part of a massive tree snapped and smashed his only means of transportation.
I mean, the whole roof is caved in, so if I had to guess, it's probably totaled.
Thursday turned out to be an active weather event for central North Carolina, as our team of WRAL meteorologists reported on a tornado warning during our evening newscast. A viewer shared what appears to be a rapidly rotating wall cloud on the Creedmoor Road Bridge near Falls Lake. Heavy rain on St. Mary's Street near downtown, and flash flooding on Glenwood Avenue and Roanoke Park Drive made for a messy evening commute. Tonight's weather, just the splash of what's to come as Hurricane Helene closes in on the Carolinas.
I'm definitely a little bit nervous about tomorrow, what it might bring as well.
Yeah, McDonald says he's nervous considering that he lives so close to all these trees that you see here. And just take a look, you can see just how this tree is just inches away from his home. Thankfully, he was not hurt. The tree did not go through his home, but he says that he's going to be using Ubers in the meantime to get to and from his intended destination. Aaron Thomas, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And people are stranded at RDU International with 88 flight delays and 15 cancellations due to this powerful storm. WRAL's Carly Haynes is there live. And Carly, things may get worse before they get better.
Gerald, a quick look at the board, and we're seeing cancellations for flights in and out of Tampa. That's after the closure of the airport there ahead of Hurricane Helene. And then just across the way over in Charlotte, we were seeing delays, and those have escalated into cancellations now. This is causing travelers to have to switch up their plans. They're having to roll with the changes.
I really want to cry. It's very upsetting.
For Tamika Totten, it's to the point of exhaustion, hit by delay after delay, ultimately deciding to cancel her trip to Dubai.
It happened so fast. We were thinking we were going to bypass the weather because we hold the bulk of the weather we're thinking coming tomorrow.
Daquan Brandon has been watching his delays tick up. He's trying to fly to Atlanta, an area right in the path of Hurricane Helene.
This is the longest experience I've had on a layover, so yeah, I just want to go home.
He'll make RDU home for the night. His delay keeping him at RDU for a total of 24 hours at least.
I just wish this didn't happen to me.
The departure times changing every time travelers look as the hurricane brings unknowns on the ground and in the skies. And this is impacting flights all over the country. Charlotte and Atlanta, they're big layover spots, so a lot of other cities are disrupted as well. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live at RDU.
We have much more on this historic storm and its impact throughout this newscast, including how local swiftwater rescue teams are poised to help in the western part of the state.
You can count on WRAL to keep you updated throughout the storms. Download the WRAL News app where you can find live radar and you can get alerts based on your location. Make sure your notifications are turned on. That's how you're going to get the help. And remember, you can always watch WRAL News live wherever you are, streaming on Hulu, YouTube TV, Spectrum, and the WRAL app.
We do have other news tonight. Coming up, most of Fayetteville is under a mandatory boil water advisory right now.
Most customers in the city should not drink water right now. How you can find out if you're affected next.
Plus, a major announcement for Wake County, the businesses that could bring hundreds of jobs to the area.
Plus, we will have a full look at the weather as Mike Mays walks us step by step through what we are going to see here next.